Hello and welcome to a brand new season of The Final Whistle with me, Daniel Waterson. I'm recording this just after France have won the World Cup in what was easily the second most important fixture of the week after Hibs put 6 past NSI Runavik of the Faroes in the Europa League. Coming up, James Delaney and I talk through the match. We have post-match reaction from Lennon and Ollie Shaw, but first let's relive the goals with Hibs TV's Cliff Pike and Keith Reid.
Canberry inside the 18-yard box, he's bundled over, penalty Hibs. Canberry steps up, right-footed. Oh, he was fortunate there, Flo Canberry. Torder Thompson will be frustrated that he couldn't keep that out. Canberry didn't strike the best penalty, to be fair, but it sneaks under the goalkeeper into the back of the net. And after just 2 minutes, it's Hibs 1, Runavik 0. Whipped in by Boyle. Great ball, and it's Flo Canberry this time. Gets the connection he wanted in the back of the net. 20 minutes gone. Hibs and Flo Canberry 2, Runavik 0.
Yeah, great ball in by Martin Ball. Fantastic, and all Canberry had to do was just stick out his foot to get it past Torder Thompson.
Shaw does well, turns away from his marker. Edge of the box, gets the shot away, right-footed. What a finish from Ollie Shaw. He skipped away from his marker, Jens Jönsson. Left-footed from the far edge of the D, buries the ball in the bottom right-hand corner, and after 28 minutes, it's Hibs 3, Runavik 0. Mallon feints to go for the shot just on the edge of the 18-yard box, then does. Oh, it's a howler from Torder Thompson. Stevie Mallon's shot looked as though it was straight into the goalkeeper's arms, but he fumbles it. It sneaks below his body and into the back of the net. One back again by Slivka. He's taking a sore one there. I think he got his instep stood on. Hanlon threads it through. Chance here for the hat-trick for Flo Canberry, and it's rolled into the back of the net with ease by the Swiss striker. Paul Hanlon played the ball in. Ollie Shaw stepped over it. Good dummy by the youngster. And Flo Canberry coming in on the blind side. Strokes the ball right-footed from about 8 yards beyond Torder Thompson and makes it Hibs 5, Runavik 0. Adam Bogdan has his wall set. Knudsen looks as though he is going to go for goal here. Right-footed in the back of the net. What a great finish from Peter Knudsen. Looked like he got a little bit of swerve on that ball, or it maybe took a deflection, nicking off the wall. So he's over this one, right-footed. 4 men in the Runavik wall. Mallon hits it right-footed. Great effort, and it's in the net despite the efforts of Thompson. A fabulous strike from Stevie Mallon right in the top corner. The goalkeeper did everything there, Keith, that he could to keep that out. Got a hand on it, could only push it on to the inside of the post and back into the net. Precision strike by Stevie Mallon, and with 83 minutes gone, it's Hibs 6, Runavik 1.
It's a new season of The Final Whistle. Sadly we're back. James, delighted to have you with me again. We're off the back of Hibs beating Runavik 6-1 in the Europa League first round qualifiers. The Seagulls are still with us. If this World Cup has taught us anything, it's that if you beat an inferior team 6-1, you are perfectly entitled to get carried away. So are we booking flights to Baku for the Europa League final when we get home?
Well, we are now just 2,070 minutes and 23 matches from the Europa League final.
From facing Sevilla
in the Europa League final.
Yep.
I'd like to sort of welcome all the Hearts fans who, under the new rules of football, have to be supporting us now.
Yeah.
So welcome to The Final Whistle, guys. Look, I mean, the message I think tonight before the game from Gary Parker, Neil Lennon, whoever was sort of giving the team talk, would have been make things as easy as possible for yourself. I think the team did that. It was 6-1 going on 10-1 really. We had plenty of chances. We smashed the woodwork 3 times in that second half. Runavik, you don't want to be sort of too harsh on them. Didn't offer an awful lot. Get a goal from what looks like an absolutely hideous deflection, and I mean there aren't any easy games really in the early stages of these things, but I don't want to say this now in case I sound like a complete idiot, but I don't think we'll have too much to worry about going over to top tier next week.
You would almost kind of hope that with that result it would be a chance to bring in a few fresh faces next week, give them minutes that they'll be needing ahead of, because we're still weeks away from the league campaign starting, so you can almost treat next week as a bonus pre-season friendly.
Yeah, and it's a really odd start to the season to be starting this season. What are we, 3 days before the World Cup final? But yeah, it's next week I think will be a good chance. We saw the likes of Marvin Bartley, Simon Murray, and somebody else. Danny Swanson came off the bench tonight. You probably expect all three of those to start. Ryan Porteous, obviously we know about his injury concerns, but he was on the bench tonight, so there's maybe an opportunity for him as well. You know, the likes of Fraser Murray and
youngsters like Scott
Martin will, I'm sure, be licking their lips at the prospect of getting a little bit of European football next week. But you know, like I say, you can't be sort of too overconfident about these things. We still have to go there and do a job and see out that 90 minutes. Obviously we've given ourselves the best possible footing here, and yeah, you know, you don't want, like I say, you don't want to be overconfident. You don't want to be cocky and caught in a position where you're embarrassed this time next week.
Yeah, that's fair. To take it right back to the start, considering it's a new season, not a huge raft of changes in the squad. Stevie Mallon came in to make his debut. We're obviously Dylan McGeer has moved on to pastures new at Sunderland. No John McGinn in the squad, which everyone will be obviously drawing their own conclusions with that one. We'll just need to wait and see there. But no McGinn, no McGeer. But I think having a central midfield pairing of Slivka and Mallon starting just ahead of Stephen Whittaker's is perfectly adequate, especially for July.
We saw towards the end of last season that Vikinta Slivka is, by no means a player who's going to sit on the bench here. He's here to be a first team player. He showed that he has the quality to do that, especially against the games against Celtic and Rangers the back end of last season. Like I said, after the split, I thought he was very comfortable out there tonight. Stevie Mallon, we know the qualities that he has. Obviously it's not quite happened for him down at Barnsley for whatever reason. Putting a pretty solid performance tonight, gets a couple of goals. His second goal's a fantastic strike. And yeah, I mean, we know that we've lost one top quality player. I feel like with the likes of Slivka and Mallon in the squad, I think obviously Mallon needs a little bit more game time to get him fully up to speed, because I think he's only played 9 games over the past year. Yeah. But we're getting there, and we still have weeks, like you say, of the transfer windows to go. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of targets eyed up. Plenty of targets being considered, and maybe a few deals a bit further down the line that hopefully we can get over the line pretty soon. You
just wonder as well how much Scottish clubs will maybe be keeping a little spare in their budget with the way the English transfer window is working this year. Is it that closes before the league starts?
It closes the day before the Premiership season starts. I think the Premiership season starts on August the 2nd or August the 8th. I can't remember which one it is. And the transfer window closes on the 1st or the 7th, whatever.
So there might be scope that people are looking at players and they maybe don't get the desired move that they want to, say, a Championship or a League One club, or how it all works down there. And then that opens up new opportunities further down the line in the window.
Yeah, and I mean, there are plenty of Scottish clubs who are going out at the moment and signing 10, 11, 12 players. There are plenty of clubs who are spending the majority of their budget quickly, and there is obviously a benefit to doing your transfer business quickly. You get players into the squad, you get them introduced into that style of play, right from the off, and that can make things easier, come the start of the season. But at the same time, I think there's like you say, there's positives to be gained from waiting it out. And seeing who you can pick up. I imagine there'll be plenty of Championship clubs and League One clubs in England who are scrambling at the moment to get everything done. Obviously that creates a little bit of issue. There's the chance that they might not quite get over the line before the loan window opens. I think that opens like a little bit after the actual transfer window shuts. So there is definitely scope there to bring in a few players from down south. I know there are plenty of players down there, and one or two that will be familiar to the Hibs fans who would love to see back up here. But I think our scouting over the past couple of years has been excellent. We've got 2 fantastic deals over the line in Stevie Mallon and Florian Canberry. We've brought in Adam Bogdan in goal, who I thought looked fairly solid tonight in everything that he had to do, and he gets beat by a completely wild deflection. There's not a lot you can do about that. So I think our business has been good so far, and I'm sure there's still more to come.
Yeah, and we talk about business, we talk about Malin being a coup. Probably the biggest coup is Flo Canberry coming in on a permanent deal, and it's him that within 2 minutes he wins the penalty, he scores a penalty. Not long after that, Martin Boyle crosses in, Canberry uses his strength to get in ahead of the defender, make it 2-0, and it's just starting exactly where he left off.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a couple of penalties last season that were slightly better hit than that one, but I'm sure he won't care. It's important to hit the ground running. Flo Canberry has done that. We know the quality that he brings. I think he was probably the one above all else, from last season that we'd wanted to keep. So obviously for that to be I think he was our first signing, wasn't he? He was our first signing. Yeah, for that to be our first signing is fantastic, because the lift that gives everybody, knowing that we have him up front and knowing that he has the quality to score goals like he did tonight, is just brilliant. His second goal he takes really well. Great strength, gets across his marker, and a nice finish, and obviously grabbing his second hat-trick in a Hibs jersey. And I can't remember there being too many Hibs players to have done that much quicker, to be honest.
Certainly not in recent memory, no. He also picked up a yellow card.
He picked up a
really soft
bizarre yellow card. There was a few challenges in that game that went unpunished, and a few that were punished. I don't know how experienced the referee was, but it seemed he was quite sort of by the book. There's a lot of times that he wouldn't let things flow. You said there was, I actually didn't quite see it because I was tweeting at the time, but there's a point where he could have played advantage and he pulled it back.
And the guy was completely standing on his own.
There was a brilliant bit where there was two balls on the pitch and one got kicked off, and it ended up sort of just sitting on the touchline, and he refused to let Lewis Stevenson take the throw in until the ball was fully off the pitch. So he seemed like a bit of a stickler for the rules, I must admit. I don't know an awful lot about him, but it seemed like a bit of a needless yellow card to dish out to,
especially so early on in the game.
It was only just after he scored the penalty, wasn't it?
So we're 2 up. I think Ollie Shaw then goes close, just missing a Boyle cross. Runavik, in fairness, it surprised us that they seem to have 3 men in the Hibs half at all times for that opening, certainly up until the red card, and then they were forced into changing it. Obviously the plan didn't really go to fruition for them, but they had a couple of dangerous-ish crosses that kind of missed a man. But then the red card comes. I will concede that I was doing social media work and missed it at that point, but you think it's soft? Cliff thought it was a red card.
I mean, it got to a stage where the game was getting a little bit kicky, for just out of nowhere really. There was a Runavik player down, Lewis Stevenson goes into a 50-50, it makes that brilliant noise when you notice him in a good 50-50 where it sounds like the ball's imploded. It gets cleared out wide, and Martin Boyle goes to take on the Runavik defender, and he just seems to kind of, I don't know if he's sort of lost the heat a wee bit about 2 challenges going unpunished, and takes him down. And I thought, given that he's booked Canberry for what I thought was a very, very soft challenge on the Runavik player, I suppose by that standard it probably was a red card, but at the same time, when it happened, it was a definite yellow.
The crowd reaction definitely seemed to suggest it was a bad challenge.
I'd like to see it back, but it definitely like a yellow card, but for me probably not enough to warrant a red.
I don't think it made a huge impact in the match anyway. The game was already kind of done and dusted by that point, but Runavik were forced into a change. They obviously had to kind of sit back a bit then. Ollie Shaw, well, I was going to say the pick of the bunch, but Stevie Mallin's free kick probably just outdone it at the end, but a great finish, get some power behind it to make it 3-0.
He absolutely blasted it into the corner. I wasn't here on Sunday, so I didn't quite see all of the Blackburn game. I was following it a little bit on Hibs TV, and there was a couple of chances that Shaw, he probably should have taken it. It just didn't quite happen for him. It looked like a confidence restoring finish. He absolutely shells it right into the bottom corner, and I think it could be a big season for Ollie, because depending on what kind of business we do in the transfer window, and depending how we set up this season, he could have more of a role. Straight from the off. He kind of got in a couple of months into the season last campaign, I think just after his goal against Celtic at Hampden, and obviously he'd been banging them in for the development squad before that. So if he can replicate that form and replicate finishes like that, I think he'll do well this season. And obviously it helps having a guy like Flo Canberry up there as well to learn from and to feed off.
Yeah, so that was 3-0. Just before half time, Stevie Mallon picks up his debut goal, his first. I had my head on my hands for the goalkeeper. Impossible to not feel a tinge of sympathy for him. We've seen it happen to us many times over the last 10-15 years, but great for Mallon to get a debut goal. It
is. He almost looks a little bit sheepish about getting it. You compared it to Gilles Rousset, I think, at half time. I think my frame of reference was Massimo Taibi for Manchester United, if anybody remembers that. But
it's one of those ones where you've kind of looked away, and then as you look back, just because people are reacting, and you go,
it was less of a cheer from the Hibs crowd. It's more of a sort of groan. I mean, it's
a collective. Mate, 12,000 people going, oh mate, no.
You didn't. You didn't. There are a few instances where I'd like to see something like that happen. To be honest, that wasn't one of them. Fair play to, I think it's Thompson. He actually makes a really good stop in the second half from Stephen Whittaker, which I kind of felt was reaffirming for him in a way. But that's not one that he'll want to be thinking too much about. It squirms under his body. Great for Mallon. I'm sure he'll look back on his second goal a little bit more fondly than his first. But yeah, I mean, at that point, you just you felt bad for him.
Neil, a professional performance from your team tonight, you'll be pleased with that?
Yeah, I'm delighted. Obviously, you just never know what the opposition are going to be like, but we started the game very well, and obviously getting the early goal, we played some great stuff and could have won the game by more, but I've got to be very satisfied with that.
It was important to get off to a good start, get off on the front foot. For the first 2 minutes leading to the penalty kick, I don't think Runavik touched the ball. No,
we wanted a good tempo. I think the game on Sunday stood the boys in really good stead. The temperature was really hot and we were up against good opposition. He made, played two teams, so they got that game in their legs, and I think that they needed that sort of run out and work out, and you could see the difference in them tonight. There was a spark about them. Obviously it was cooler tonight, and there was a good vibrancy about the way we played, and a good attacking intent as well, which was always pleasing.
That said, Runavik 15 games into their league season, we've played 3 pre-season friendlies. It could have been a leveller, but we didn't allow it to be.
No, we had the quality and good pace in the team, and it was good concentration. Unfortunately with the goal, I think it took a big deflection, so it could have been even better, and we've hit the bar, hit the post, and we've missed a couple of one-on-ones as well. So overall, I've got to be more than satisfied with what I saw tonight.
We know you were very keen to get Flo Canberry back, and he showed why tonight.
Yeah, it's a great start for him. Hat-trick in 50 minutes. He was on a booking. He got a wee bit of a knee knock, so obviously don't want to take any chances. Same with Darren, once he got the yellow card, we don't want to lose any players at this stage of the competition or even this season, so we're just trying to be sensible, and with the advantage that we had, there was no need to take any risks, and we played well after that. I was pleased with the subs who came on and added a wee bit of spark to us, so all in all, it's a very good start for us.
And another one of your new boys, Stevie Mallon, he showed his prowess around the penalty area with dead balls.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great set-piece delivery. I think his range of passing is very good. That's his first 90 minutes in, I think, 6 months. And again, that gets the game in his legs, and his match rhythm will start to come back. Another week's training will stand him in good stead, as with the rest of the boys. And then obviously we've got a team to select for next week. And then we'll have one eye hopefully on the Greek tie, which is obviously a step up in class.
And for a team like ours that has a lot of players that get in and around the penalty area, win free kicks, having someone that can stick the ball in the back of the net like that is a huge bonus.
Yeah, McGinn adds goals from midfield. We're hoping Mallon will do the same. It's always good. Slivka can weigh in. It's always good to get goals from midfield. We've got good wide players who can pitch in. I thought Boyle again had an outstanding game, was a real threat all night. So it's good to see some of them pick up where they left off from last season so very quickly.
We've got something a wee bit different tonight as well, a header from Lewis Stevenson off the post.
Yeah, don't know how he's missed that. Even Eder scored that, so I was giving him a bit of stick about that afterwards. Sheriff's Badge hedge. I think he takes a nosebleed like me when he gets in the box in those situations, but yeah, it was a great play from Boiler. Simon missed a good chance. We've hit the bar, hit the post. Ollie's had a couple of great chances as well, so yes, I mean, it was good to watch.
Martin Boyle again started where he left off last season. If you give him the ball, he'll cause defenders problems.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a great little player. He took a bit of stick tonight. Changing Martin is, he's getting up and getting on with it now, and wants to get at people. His final delivery at times is fantastic, and he's a real threat. That pace just gets him beyond. He's very, very smart, really intelligent, and listen, he's been brilliant for me since I've come in the door, and I think he'll only get better.
And from your own point of view, you watched the game from the stand. That's another one off the list, though. I think there's only 2 now to go.
2 to go.
You'll be glad to get back on the touchline, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and it's difficult at times, but we put a lot of preparation into the game, and we'll do the same again for next week, and then it's 1 to go after that. So hopefully we'll get a good look at the group. Listen, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but having a 5-goal lead should be more than enough to see us through, and then we can start the plan for the next round.
I think half-time was a more than welcome relief for Runavik at that point. You kind of thought at that point they would get to half-time, reshape, restructure. They made 2 changes. They made the final 2 subs at half-time, but within 2 or 3 minutes of the second half starting, it's another cross and Flo Canberry completes his hat-trick.
Yeah, and saw Canberry get his first hat-trick against Hamilton, I think in a midweek game here a couple of months ago. The year's not even out yet, and he's got his second, and I mean that can only do him the world of good. We said earlier, picking up exactly where he left off. His goal scoring record for Hibs must be up pretty close to a goal a game now, if not a goal a game at the moment. So yeah, the more we get to see of him, the better. He obviously gets subbed off. I think with that yellow card in mind, I'd be surprised if he played next week.
Yeah, I said to you in the first half,
unless something incredible happens, I'd be very surprised.
I remember Real Madrid a few seasons ago. Craig Thompson was the referee. Real Madrid played the game a few seasons ago, and was it Ramos and somebody else deliberately got second yellows. I would have just got this is just me obviously, but if I was Canberra, I would have just get sent off, be suspended for next week, and then you're not running the risk of a yellow and being suspended for triplus.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that was playing on the mind of Florian Canberra, or indeed Gary Parker on the sidelines.
That's why I'll never be a football manager. Well, just go and get sent off, son. Go on, off you go.
We're kind of going back to that booking again. It was soft and completely needless, but like I say, I wouldn't expect Canberra to play really any part next week, unless something completely mind-blowing happens,
which I'm sure it won't. Definitely not.
Yeah.
So Canberra, within about a minute of completing his hat-trick, hits the post. Runavik get their goal. We've touched on it. McGregor was penalised. He also got a really soft booking for that.
Who also got substituted as well.
Yeah,
again, I suspect
should have been sent off.
If Porteous is fit, I suspect he'll probably play in place of McGregor next week. Don't need to be picking up silly yellow cards. I think it's Knudsen gets credited with the free kick. He might go down as an own goal, to be honest. I actually thought he was probably Runavik's best player today. He looked the one that had like a little bit about him and a bit of skill. He looked quite dangerous. He was the one who sort of flashed a few of those crosses, those corners across the box. There wasn't an awful lot Adam Bogdan could have done about it, to be honest. It's going one way, and he does actually try and sort of shift his feet out of that, and the ball's already past him. It's just one of those things. It's obviously a bit disappointing for us not to keep a clean sheet, but in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't really matter.
And it made no impact on the game whatsoever. Hibs it was just chance after chance beyond that. Ollie Shaw through 1-on-1. Maybe he shouldn't have squared it, but he should have hit the target.
Yeah,
puts it just.
He tries to go sort of far post, and I wonder if going near post might have been better. I mean, I say that like I have any experience of being put through on goal in a Europa League game. It didn't look like Thompson had covered his near post particularly well.
Almost too much time to think about it.
Yeah, and he's doing what strikers should do, and he's hitting it across the goalkeeper, but in that situation, I wonder if blasting it might have been better than trying to place it. Yeah,
but I think not long after that, there's a cross comes in. Simon Murray, Boyle puts it in with pace. But the goal's gaping for Murray. Stevenson hits a post with a goal gaping a header.
Lewis Stevenson header hitting the post is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, Stevie Mallon near enough wrapped up goal of the season with a 30-yard strike that nearly broke the crossbar. And Hibs are playing really nice stuff, and alright, we can kind of we don't want to patronise or be condescending towards the opposition, but Hibs playing nice football is always going to be something that entertains fans and brings them in.
Yeah, and with the greatest of respect to Runavik, it reminded me a little bit of the League Cup group stage last season when we played, was it Arbroath here? We beat them 6-1 as well, I think.
It was Arbroath and Montrose we beat heavily here.
And it took a couple of minutes in that game for us to get going, but once we were in full flow, we were playing some really entertaining stuff. It comes back to that whole sort of thing in football of, our result's better than your result because your opposition was worse. In reality, you can only beat what's in front of you. Yeah. This week it's Runavik. In a couple of weeks' time, it'll be, Aberdeen. It'll be Celtic. It'll be Hearts. It'll be Rangers. Next May it'll be Sevilla in the final. So we can only, like I say, we can only beat what's in front of us. We can only go out and perform well on the day. We did our job today. We did, I think, what most people would have been expecting us to do. And again, with the greatest respect to Runavik, they're probably not a great measuring stick for where we are at this point. It did feel a little bit like a pre-season game at times today. Like I say, you can only beat the opposition that you're given, and we didn't decide to play Runavik. It's a draw.
I feel it says a lot for the consistency in this squad as well, that this isn't as if every year there's been Scottish teams going into Europa League at this stage for the last 4 or 5 years now, and none of them have racked up a result. With the exception of Celtic in the Champions League, but we've seen Hearts lose to poor part-time Maltese teams. Aberdeen, St Johnstone have had some shockers as well along the way. So to me, it's all credit to Neil Lennon, it's all credit to Hibs and the backroom staff for getting them so prepared for this. For teams to progress and get as far as they can in Europe, they need a hell of a lot of luck in the draw, and I think we're long overdue a bit of luck with European draws.
We are, and you used the word progress there, which puts you in mind the Rangers obviously last season.
I forget that one.
Everybody expected them to turn Progress Niederkorn over, and they didn't. They won 1-0 at home, and they went away to Luxembourg. I'm sure thinking that they were going to get 6 or 7. And came back red-faced, and not just because of the heat. It was one of those completely bizarre moments where you just kind of sat back for a minute and thought, well, this is hilarious, and then there was a little bit of you that just kind of thought it still is hilarious, and then there was a little bit you thought that's a little bit depressing actually, to be honest. It's still hilarious. I don't feel that bad for them, to be honest with you. If it happened again this year, I'd be delighted. But you're right. I mean, we've had the draws we've had recently. Brøndby, I thought we acquitted ourselves really well, and we're very unlucky not to go through in that against what was a good team, who I think went on and did they win the Danish league that year?
They put Hertha Berlin out in the next round.
Before that, Malmo, we went into that with an awful team. I mean, let's face it was an awful team.
The likes of Malmo and Maribor have been in the Champions League in recent seasons.
Malmo were a good side, and they absolutely ripped us apart here. Maribor, again, we didn't know an awful lot about them at the time, but we're a good side, and I think there's players in that Maribor team are now playing in Serie A and La Liga and stuff.
They played Palermo after us, and Palermo I think signed at least 2 of their players following those ties.
I think it's Ilicic, I think, is playing at Atalanta now and is a good player, and they've got a guy at Fiorentina as well. I did a programme article about this, and I'm pretty sure I pointed all this out, but we probably were due. This reminded me, I think I said during the game of the Dienenburg game a couple of years ago, if you remember that. Was that the Intertoto Cup?
It was the Intertoto, yeah,
Intertoto Cup, where Dienenburg weren't great opposition. It was 5-0 going on, about 10-0. The only thing that was missing was the torrential downpour during that game, but we're probably due a little bit of good fortune in the draw. Again, there's still a job to be done next week. I'd say we're probably more than halfway in the next round, but I'm sure Asteras will have been watching this, and again, I don't know an awful lot about Asteras Tripolis, and again, I don't want to sort of count our chickens or anything, but I'm pretty sure they'll be expecting an easier ride than we'll get, hopefully, from the Hibs team.
The Tripolis will probably be looking at us the same way we're looking at them. They've probably never heard of Hibs. They'll look at results and say, oh well, they beat Celtic, they beat Rangers last season. We'll look at them, I believe they beat AK Athens in the league, so it's a measure that they're no mugs themselves. And again, when you look at Aberdeen, have been drawn against Burnley. I think Rangers have got a not too shabby Croatian team awaiting them if they get through against Scooshy, I think are they called Scooshy?
I don't know.
Scoopy?
No idea.
Scoopy.
Scoopy.
Best name, best club name in the world.
Brilliant name.
If Rangers get through against Scoopy, then they've got a decent Croatian star. Just a brilliant name.
Sean Connery's favourite team.
I wish we drew Scoopy just so that we could record a full podcast of saying the word Scoopy.
Listen to how hilarious all of the finds the name
Richard Gordon
Scoopy.
loves Scoopy. Yeah.
Just because we're saying it over and over again.
But yeah, it's.
What was the point of we're trying to make?
I have absolutely no
idea.
But they've got difficult ties. We've got what looks on paper a very tricky tie, but a winnable tie, and then who knows beyond that.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun of being in this. It's the one thing that's kind of, I think we said this at the end, or I certainly said it at the end of last season as well. It's the one thing that's kind of eluded us really over the past, 15, 20 years, is that with the exception of the AEK Athens game, is like that big European tie. And this one feels, again, you don't want to be overconfident or cocky. We're probably halfway to the next round against Tripolis. We don't really know an awful lot about Tripolis. That means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. They could be brilliant, they could be rubbish, they could be neither and still put us out. But it feels winnable, and it feels like we've got a squad that's capable of progressing in this. Neil Lennon set a target at the group stage. That is what it is. He'll have his targets. We're back to that again, measuring up. Do you want to go all the way to the group stage? Do you want that big tie in the qualifying rounds just for the trip abroad? I'm sure there'll be plenty of green and white shirts in Greece. I'll know there'll be plenty of green and white shirts in Greece. They'll all go and enjoy, being in Europe and just enjoying the experience. We're playing European football, no matter if it starts in July and or in September, whenever the actual competition proper starts. We're still in it. We're still going to be, watching on Thursday night. It's better than playing a pointless friendly or a meaningless friendly away somewhere, and enjoy it while it lasts, basically.
And now here's post-match thoughts from Ollie Shaw.
Ollie, that was a professional performance from the boys tonight, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, we knew we had to go and do out there. We knew that we were a part-time team, but we knew we had to show them respect that they deserve, and obviously we got off to a good start, scoring in 2 minutes, and that set the tone for us, and we pretty much dominated the game after that. Yeah.
You say a part-time team, but they've played 15 league games and we played 3 pre-season friendlies. That could have been a leveller, but we got off to a great start. The penalty kick after 2 minutes, and that settled everything down right at the start. Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously they're in the middle of their season, so their fitness will be good, and we're obviously just starting out in pre-season here. But it was good to get an early goal and get us off the mark, and I think all the boys enjoyed the occasion, all the fans enjoyed the occasion after that. Yeah.
You got on the score sheet yourself. Lovely strike from the edge of the 18-yard box, sidestep your man, buried it in the bottom corner. Pleased with that one?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Obviously I don't score many with my left foot, so I'm pleased to get a left foot one there. Obviously I could have had a couple more as well, but to get one I'm happy with, and get off the mark for the competitive campaign, and yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
And how are you enjoying playing up front alongside Flo Canberry?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Obviously me and Flo built on a partnership in training and things like that. We've worked on a few things with the gaffer and Parks. So yeah, we just try to implement them in the games, and obviously Flo's a great place in that last season. He's came in and scored a hat-trick again tonight, so I thrive playing up front with him there. So yeah, it's really good.
Stevie Mallon as well in the midfield area, threading nice passes through for you guys to get on the end of as well. Nice player to play alongside.
Yeah, you can see he's got a bit of class about him. He's obviously played down south, and he's only young as well. He's got good technical abilities, and you can see a pass, so yeah, it's always good to have somebody like that in behind you, rolling you through. Yeah.
And to score 6 goals, 2 off the woodwork as well. Their goalkeeper made a few good saves. It could have been a lot more than 6.
It could have been, yeah, but we're happy with the 6 goals, but we'll take that. It was a professional performance, and we'll take all the positives and move on to the away tie. Yeah.
I think that the main aim probably tonight was to try and make the game as safe as possible tonight, to make the trip next week as much of a formality as it could be. Was that the game plan?
Yeah, obviously it's the home crowd here, so it's obviously going to play in our favour, so we wanted to get out there and put on a show for the fans here, and we knew what we had to do, and we knew if we'd score a few goals and we could get a few more, so we're happy with that, and we're happy to go over there with a good scoreline. Yeah.
And from your own point of view, Ollie, it's a big season for you ahead. Get your opportunity tonight, you score a goal, that's all you can do. Keep scoring goals. If you do that, you'll keep yourself in the manager's eyes.
Yeah, well, I just take my chance when it comes along. Obviously the gaffer's trusting me and playing me in these big occasions and things like that, so when the chance comes along, I've got to take it, and I'm happy I got a goal tonight, but obviously he's looking for overall play as well, so you've got to hold the ball up, and obviously me and Flo want to link together and play together, and I'm happy with the performance tonight.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Extended highlights from Thursday night are now available, and of course you've got all of last season's games as well as a huge archive of other classics if you subscribe to Hibs TV. Next up for us is the trip to the Faroes on Thursday. Details on how to tune in on Hibs TV are currently being finalised, so keep an eye on the club's website and social media for more information on that. Until next time, my thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. Thank you for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.